The outer rim of the galaxy was a quiet, forgotten place. Most travelers avoided it. Spaceports were small, dusty, and old. Among these relics of past glory drifted countless abandoned ships, left to rust in the cold dark. One of these ships was larger than most freighters, a massive vessel that once carried explorers across the stars. Now, it floated silently, unloved and rejected by every alien race that had seen it. Jonah's Hale had never been much of a talker. Humans often weren't taken seriously in alien space, especially when it came to engineering. But Jonah's had a gift. He could see potential where others saw waste. And when he first caught sight of the abandoned ship, he felt a spark that no warning from aliens could dim. The ship's hull was scarred and worn. Its surface bore the marks of decades, maybe centuries, of exposure to space storms. Aliens had already examined it and declared it worthless. Its systems were outdated, its engines weak by modern standards, and its design, complex, intricate, and strange, was too alien for anyone else to understand. Most had walked away. Jonas, however, saw the beauty in its chaos. He approached the ship cautiously in his small salvage shuttle. The docking clamps had rusted, but a quick adjustment and the airlock hissed open. Inside, the silence was almost sacred. The corridors were long and empty, lined with panels that still flickered faintly. It was as if the ship itself was breathing slowly, waiting for someone to notice it. Jonas moved carefully, his boots echoing on metal floors. He examined the control panels, the navigation systems, and the engine cores. Everything looked dead to any alien engineer, but to Jonas there were signs of life. Small lights blinked in rhythms that suggested memory, intelligence. The ship was not broken, it was sleeping. "Hello," he said softly, almost to himself. "Are you listening?" Nothing answered, only the soft hum of power deep in the bowels of the ship. But Jonas smiled. He understood. The ship did not speak like humans or aliens. It spoke through its systems, its design, its hidden potential. Over the next few hours, Jonas moved through the ship, making careful notes. He found storage bays filled with old supplies, long-expired rations, and tools from a century ago. There were cabins, perfectly preserved, almost frozen in time. And in the heart of the vessel, he discovered the engine room, a massive chamber with cores that had been thought useless. Their energy output was weak now, but Jonas could see the old engineering genius behind them. "This is no ordinary ship," he whispered. "You're something else entirely." Alien engineers would have laughed. They had already written it off, labeled it ancient junk, and left it to drift endlessly. But Jonas knew better. Humanity thrived on taking what others rejected and turning it into something new. That was who they were. And this ship, it was going to be his project. He spent days exploring every inch. He found an AI core, deeply hidden behind layers of outdated firewalls. It was damaged, barely functional, but he could sense the intelligence inside. The core had once guided the ship across unexplored galaxies, keeping it alive through dangers no human or alien had ever faced. Jonas felt a connection. "Don't worry," he said, patting the console gently. "I'll get you working again." It was not easy. The ship was enormous, and repairing it alone was a daunting task. Jonas made trips back to his small workshop at the edge of the spaceport, bringing back tools, replacement circuits, and spare parts he scavenged from other abandoned ships. The aliens had never considered that a human would bother. "They'll never fix it," one alien technician sneered when Jonas was first spotted near the ship. "It's useless. Nothing you do will change that." Jonas only smiled. He was used to doubt. He had grown up fixing broken machines no one else wanted, making them run better than new. This was bigger, yes, but it was the same principle: potential, persistence, human ingenuity. As he worked, he began to notice small reactions from the ship. Lights flickered when he approached. Systems hummed softly as he repaired circuits. The AI core, though still mostly silent, began responding to his commands in subtle ways. It was learning, or remembering, or maybe both. Jonas could not tell, but he did not mind. He had patience. One evening, while repairing the navigation arrays, he discovered something extraordinary. Behind a panel in the captain's control room was a compartment he had not seen before. Inside were star maps, coordinates, and logs written in a language long forgotten by most of the galaxy. These were the paths of the ship's past voyages, uncharted sectors, mysterious planets and civilizations no one alive had seen. Jonas's eyes widened. "You've been everywhere, haven't you?" he murmured. "And they just left you here." The thought made him angry, but in that anger he found purpose. This ship, rejected and forgotten, was meant for greatness. And he, a human mechanic in a corner of the galaxy, was the one who could bring it back. Over the following weeks, Jonas worked tirelessly. He slept little, ate only when necessary, and spent every waking hour inside the ship or running back and forth to his workshop. He cleaned systems caked with decades of dust and neglect. He repaired engines with methods no alien engineer would dare try. He replaced broken circuits with parts he had modified himself. Every success brought a spark of life back into the vessel. The hum of power grew stronger, systems became more responsive, and even the air felt alive as it circulated more efficiently through the ship's corridors. The AI core, once nearly dormant, now glimmered faintly, as if acknowledging Jonas's work. Aliens from the station began to watch with curiosity. Some snickered. "It's just a human fool," they said. "He'll fail like all the others." But a few could not deny the odd changes they saw. Lights were brighter, engines purred, and strange energy signatures flickered across the ship's hull. Jonas ignored the doubters. He knew humans had always succeeded where others failed. Humans adapted, improvised, and persevered. Where alien engineers relied on rules, humans relied on creativity. And that was what this ship needed. Finally, after weeks of work, Jonas was ready to test the ship. The engines were weak but stable. The navigation system could respond to commands. The AI core hummed softly, acknowledging him. He climbed into the pilot's seat, hands trembling with excitement. "Let's see what you can do," he said. The engines roared to life. The hull shuddered, but it held. Lights danced across the corridors, systems aligned, and the ship slowly lifted from its docking bay. For the first time in decades, it moved under its own power. Jonas felt a thrill he had never known. The ship responded to him as if it trusted him, as if it had been waiting for a human to bring it back. He guided it out of the station's orbit, past the abandoned satellites and floating debris. The galaxy stretched before him, vast and endless. "This is just the beginning," he whispered, eyes shining. "We'll go further than anyone ever imagined. You and I will show them what humans can do." The stars outside the cockpit seemed to pulse in response, reflecting the ship's awakening. Jonas knew that this moment would change everything for him, for the ship, and for how the galaxy would see humans in the future. As the abandoned starship glided into the unknown, it was no longer rejected. It was alive. And it was waiting to be unstoppable. The abandoned starship floated silently above the distant rim of the galaxy, but inside, it was alive. Systems that had slept for decades now hummed with energy. Lights glowed faintly along corridors that had not felt human footsteps in generations. And at the center of it all, Jonah's Hale worked tirelessly, moving like a whirlwind of focus and determination. The ship had awakened, but it was far from complete. Its AI core flickered, responding sporadically to Jonas's commands, and engines purred but struggled with old power conduits. Every system had quirks, unusual and unpredictable, like a puzzle built by a mind older than any human or alien alive today. Most engineers would have walked away in frustration. Jonas, however, smiled. "This is exactly what I like," he said, wiping grease from his hands. "A challenge." He spent hours crawling through maintenance shafts, repairing circuits, and reconnecting broken nodes. He discovered redundancies in the ship's architecture, backup systems designed to keep the vessel alive through failures, though centuries of neglect had left most dormant. With careful hands, he coaxed them awake, replacing corroded connections with parts he had modified himself. The AI core was the hardest part. When Jonas first tried to communicate with it directly, it responded with faint pulses, signals too weak for any translator to read. But Jonas did not panic. He had patience. He had always trusted humans to solve problems differently, using imagination, intuition, and persistence where others relied solely on rules. Slowly, methodically, he began creating a dialogue. He built a small interface, connecting directly to the AI's subsystems. Each night he would speak softly as he worked, explaining his actions, testing responses. At first the core's replies were erratic, lights flickered, engines pulsed, but eventually a pattern emerged. The ship was learning, or perhaps remembering. One evening, Jonas sat in the captain's chair, staring at the interface. "I know you're still angry," he said. "Abandoned, left to drift, but I can fix this. We can go far. We can explore where no one has gone before. Can you do that with me?" The core responded with a subtle vibration in the chair. It was not much, but it was acknowledgement. Jonas grinned. "Good, that's good. We'll start small." His first experiments were simple: powering the engines to low output, testing basic navigation, and running self-repair sequences. The engines shivered to life, releasing bursts of old fuel that had long been considered useless. But Jonas had adapted the system, tweaking valves and conduits to make it work. Alien engineers would have considered it impossible. Humans called it ingenuity. For days, he repeated these trials, gradually expanding the ship's capabilities. Each success built his confidence, and the ship's lights glowed brighter, engines purred stronger, and corridors that had been dark for decades became filled with energy and warmth. It was as if the ship recognized him, as if it had chosen a new captain for the first time in centuries. While Jonas worked, rumors began to spread among the small spaceport. Alien engineers who had once mocked him now watched from a distance, curious despite themselves. "A human is tinkering with that junk," one sneered. "It's doomed, he will fail." "But it moves," another whispered, eyes wide. "I saw the lights blink, and the energy readings there improving." Jonas did not care. He knew humans were underestimated across the galaxy. Most species relied on rules, rigid thinking, and tradition. Humans thrived on bending the rules, finding hidden solutions, and acting where others hesitated. That was why he was succeeding where countless aliens had failed. The AI core's responses became clearer with each day. It began storing information in ways Jonas could interpret: engine efficiency data, subsystem health, even navigation logs from its last voyages. Hidden compartments revealed more surprises. Old records, encrypted messages, and star maps pointed to regions of space long forgotten. These were not random. They were paths the ship had once traveled, charting planets, stars, and systems that no living being had revisited in generations. Jonas leaned back in the captain's chair, staring at the holographic star maps he had reconstructed. "You've been everywhere, haven't you?" he whispered. "And they just left you here, but I'll take you further." He realized something remarkable. The ship was not just a vessel. It was a library of knowledge, a vessel built for exploration, and a relic of a civilization that valued curiosity and discovery above all. Aliens had rejected it because they no longer understood curiosity. They had traded it for efficiency. Humans still had it, and that made all the difference. One night, Jonas stayed late, working on the engine core. The AI began responding with subtle patterns of light, almost like a heartbeat. Jonas understood that this was trust. The ship had chosen him as its partner. "I promise," he said quietly, "I'll get you back to your full strength. We'll show them what humans can do." The days turned into weeks. Jonas's body ached, but he did not stop. He repaired, rebuilt, and reprogrammed. He tested energy outputs, navigational arrays, and communication systems. Every obstacle was met with his human determination, every problem solved with creativity rather than protocol. Finally, he decided it was time for a larger test. He would try a controlled flight just above the station. He invited no one, aliens would only mock, and he did not need spectators. The engines roared, a deep sound that had not been heard for decades. The hull vibrated, systems aligned, and the ship lifted smoothly from its dock. Jonas felt a thrill that went beyond accomplishment. It was connection. The ship moved under his guidance, responding to his every command, every adjustment. He had never felt anything like it before. As the ship glided through the station's orbit, Jonas noticed something in the AI's responses. It was not just performing commands, it was suggesting optimizations, subtle changes that improved efficiency and power. The ship had begun to teach him as much as he had taught it. From the spaceport below, a few aliens observed in shock. "I don't understand," one whispered. "It shouldn't be possible." Jonas ignored them. This was not about approval, it was about discovery, about partnership, about proving that a human mind, combined with courage and creativity, could awaken something no alien could. Later, when he returned the ship to its quiet bay, Jonas explored the navigation system further. Hidden in encrypted memory banks were star charts leading to uncharted sectors, regions marked as dangerous, unknown, or unreachable. The ship had traveled there before, and it wanted to go again. Jonas's heart raced. "We can go farther than anyone has ever gone," he said. "And they'll never see it coming. They'll never understand what we can do." He knew the aliens would continue to doubt him. Many would scoff at a human daring to pilot a vessel older than their fleets. But Jonas also knew something else. Humans thrived in situations others called impossible. That was why the ship had responded to him, why it hummed with life, and why it would one day leave the galaxy in awe. For now, the work continued. Jonas repaired more systems, upgraded power conduits, and coaxed more responses from the AI. Each day was a step toward something greater, a partnership that would change the galaxy's perception of humanity. And late at night, when the stars outside seemed to stretch forever, Jonas would sit in the captain's chair, hands on the console, and whisper, "You and I together will go where no one has gone before, and the galaxy will remember that humans never give up." The abandoned ship, rejected by all, now had a purpose, and that purpose was tied to a human mechanic who refused to see impossibility as a limit. It was a quiet awakening, subtle yet unstoppable, setting the stage for discoveries that would leave the galaxy stunned. The galaxy was quiet in the outer sectors, but for Jonah's hail, the hum of the starship filled the silence with life. The engines purred, lights blinked in orderly rhythm, and the AI core glimmered faintly, a sign that it had accepted its human partner. Jonas's hands rested lightly on the console, eyes scanning the stars ahead. Today, he would take the ship beyond the station for the first true test flight. It was a calculated risk. The ship's systems were improving daily under his care, but decades of neglect left room for error. He had no backup crews, no alien engineers to consult. He had only himself and human ingenuity, but that was enough. Jonas initiated the launch sequence. The engines responded immediately, drawing power from newly repaired conduits. The ship lifted smoothly, far more agile than its bulk suggested. Its ancient design, once dismissed as obsolete, now allowed precise movements that modern alien ships could not replicate. The first challenge was a nearby asteroid field. Irregular rocks floated silently, remnants of a long-forgotten collision. Alien engineers would have avoided the area entirely, considering it too unpredictable. Jonas, however, trusted his instincts and the ship. "Hold steady," he whispered, guiding the vessel between jagged rocks. The ship's AI pulsed in acknowledgement, adjusting thrust and vector with every move. Jonas marveled at the responsiveness. The core was no longer passive. It now collaborated, learning his intentions and optimizing performance. From afar, a small alien observation ship watched in disbelief. That shouldn't be possible, an alien engineer muttered. It's moving faster, smoother, more precise than any of ours could. Jonas didn't notice. He was fully focused, weaving the ship through the asteroids with calm precision. When a large rock suddenly shifted into the path of his trajectory, he made a split-second adjustment. The ship tilted, engines flaring, and glided past without even a scrape. He exhaled slowly, a grin spreading across his face. "See, nothing we can't handle." The AI responded with a faint pulse, almost like laughter. It was learning his style, reacting in perfect harmony. Jonas could feel it thinking ahead, predicting the environment, helping him. Together, they moved like a single entity, human and machine intertwined in instinct and ingenuity. Once past the asteroid field, Jonas plotted a course toward an uncharted sector marked in the ship's hidden star maps. He had been curious about this region since he first uncovered the logs. It was a place abandoned by all civilizations, unexplored for centuries, full of mystery and danger, perfect for testing both ship and pilot. As the ship entered hyperspace, Jonas monitored the systems. Energy flows were stable, engines adapting to old yet resilient designs. The AI core was fully awake now, guiding him through navigation loops and energy optimizations. What had once been a derelict ship was now a vessel of unmatched capability. Hours later, the ship exited hyperspace into a cluster of dim stars. Planetary bodies orbited quietly, untouched by any life form humans or aliens knew. The sensors detected anomalies, asteroid belts, radiation pockets, and drifting magnetic storms. Alien fleets would avoid this space entirely. Jonas smiled. "Perfect," he said. "Let's see what we can do." He directed the ship through the first anomaly, a massive magnetic storm twisting through space like a cosmic tornado. Most species considered it impassable. Jonas adjusted the shields and engine output, relying on the ship's AI to calculate variations in real time. They moved carefully, yet faster than any alien engineers would have dared. The storm battered the hull with invisible force. Lights flickered, alarms whispered in the background, but Jonas stayed calm. He adjusted channels, rerouted power, and modified the shield matrix. The ship responded instantly, protecting itself, adapting, even repairing minor damages as they occurred. Once through, Jonas glanced at the sensors. Minimal wear, systems fully operational. He laughed softly, a sound of triumph and relief. "I told you, nothing we can't handle." Below, in the observation ship, the alien engineers had never moved so fast. It shouldn't survive that," one said, voice trembling. "How is a human piloting it through that storm?" Jonas did not answer. Humans rarely waited for approval. They acted, learned, and adapted. That was why they were underestimated. That was why he had succeeded where so many had failed. As the ship ventured further, Jonas explored another feature hidden in the logs, a field of drifting debris, remnants of ancient battles long erased from history. It was a test of both the ship's agility and his own problem-solving. One wrong calculation could mean collision, but Jonas thrived on unpredictability. He analyzed the movement of each object, tracing paths, predicting rotations. When the first massive fragment suddenly veered off, he anticipated the change and adjusted the engines before the AI even processed it. The ship tilted, gliding past the debris with precision. Then the AI suggested a faster, safer route. Jonas followed. "See," he said, smiling. "We're learning from each other." The field passed without incident, and the ship emerged into open space where starlight stretched infinitely. The AI core pulsed warmly, as if proud of their progress. Jonas felt a deep connection. This was no longer just a machine. This was a partner, an ally, and a friend. For the first time, Jonas felt the weight of what they had accomplished. A human and a ship, thought obsolete, had survived challenges that would have destroyed any alien vessel. He realized that the galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries, not because humans lacked strength or intelligence, but because no species could predict the ingenuity of a mind that refused limits. As he prepared to return toward known space, the sensors detected an unknown signal. It was faint, almost imperceptible. Curious, Jonas traced it, following coordinates deeper into uncharted territory. The AI adjusted, guiding him with subtle suggestions. The closer they approached, the stronger the signal became, a rhythmic pulse, almost like a heartbeat echoing across space. Jonas's curiosity piqued. "Another mystery for us," he said. "I wonder who or what is out here." The signal led them to a derelict alien vessel, long abandoned and partially destroyed. No life signs, no engines, just drifting. Yet the sensors indicated faint energy patterns, similar to the AI core's pulses. Jonas smiled. "Looks like we've found someone else who doesn't want to be forgotten," he said. "Let's see what secrets you hold." He maneuvered the ship closer. The AI responded instantly, scanning the vessel, analyzing weaknesses, and identifying potential interactions. Together, human and machine worked as one, uncovering compartments, restoring partial systems, and discovering logs that detailed missions long erased from memory. Hours passed as Jonas explored the vessel. He found star maps, navigational paths, and records of exploratory missions lost to the galaxy. He realized something incredible. These logs, combined with the AI core's memories, could reveal hidden sectors of space, civilizations unknown, and resources no alien had ever thought to explore. For a moment, Jonas felt a thrill unlike anything before. The galaxy, vast and dismissive, had overlooked humans again, but this time humans were ready. "The galaxy thinks we are weak," he whispered. "They think we follow rules and limits, but they've never seen what we can do." The derelict vessel systems began responding faintly to the AI core's signals, as if recognizing a kindred spirit. Jonas understood. The AI was curious, excited, even protective. Together, they could unlock hidden potential, restore lost ships, and explore regions the galaxy had long forgotten. As the Starship prepared to head back to the station, Jonas plotted a course through new paths, testing engine limits and AI efficiency. Every calculation, every adjustment, every improvisation reinforced a truth that the galaxy had yet to accept. Humans were adaptable, creative, and unstoppable when others counted them out. By the time they returned to known space, the sun had set over distant stars, and the small observation ship still watched in awe. The once abandoned Starship had proven its worth. Humans had proven their worth, and Jonas knew this was only the beginning. "We've done well today," he said, patting the console, "and tomorrow we'll go even further. They'll never see it coming." The AI pulsed in agreement, lights flickering across the panels in a steady rhythm. A silent promise had been made between human and machine. Together, they would explore, survive, and thrive where no one else could. And somewhere in the galaxy that had dismissed them, a seed of doubt had begun to grow. The galaxy was starting to notice. Humans were not to be underestimated. The galaxy had heard whispers, tales of a human mechanic who had awakened an ancient starship long rejected by every alien race. Some laughed, others doubted. But Jonas Hale knew the truth. The ship was alive, and together they were unstoppable. The starship, once abandoned and broken, now glowed with energy. Systems hummed with power, engines responded instantly to commands, and the AI core pulsed rhythmically, as if proud of its human partner. Jonas stood at the bridge, hands steady on the console, eyes bright with determination. Today, he would show the galaxy what humans could do. The first stop was the neutral starbase, a sprawling hub where aliens of many races gathered. It was the perfect place to demonstrate the ship's abilities without interference, yet within the view of those who had once doubted him. As the starship approached, observation decks filled with curious engineers, commanders, and diplomats. Rumors of the humans' feats had spread faster than Jonah's anticipated. "They say a human fixed it," one alien whispered nervously. "The ship, it's supposed to be impossible." Jonas ignored the murmurs. He didn't need approval, he needed to prove capability. He maneuvered the ship into a display corridor, engines humming, shields glowing faintly, lights reflecting along polished panels. The AI core responded instantly to subtle gestures, adjusting power flows and optimizing systems as Jonas demonstrated each function. The first display was simple: maneuverability. Jonas guided the ship through a narrow corridor of space, twisting, turning, and banking with precision that astonished the observers. The ship reacted instantly, faster and smoother than any modern alien vessel. An alien engineer gasped. How can a human pilot it so perfectly?" Jonas smiled faintly. "It's not just me," he said quietly to himself. "It's both of us." The AI pulsed in agreement. Together, they were more than pilot and ship. They were a single force of creativity and intelligence. Next, Jonas demonstrated efficiency and adaptability. He directed the ship to navigate around drifting debris and small asteroids in real time. The engines adjusted, shields redistributed power, and the ship repaired minor system faults mid-flight. Aliens watched in awe. A vessel this old, thought useless, now handled dynamic obstacles better than any contemporary model. "Impossible," one diplomat muttered. "No ship should do that." Jonas leaned forward. "The impossible only exists until someone tries." Then came the most daring demonstration. Jonas plotted a course through a simulated hazard field designed to mimic dangerous sectors of uncharted space, regions most aliens avoided entirely. Magnetic storms, radiation bursts, and irregular asteroid clusters tested every system simultaneously. Many alien engineers predicted failure within minutes. Jonas, however, saw opportunity. "Let's show them," he whispered. The ship accelerated. Shields flared, engines roared, and lights danced across the bridge. The AI core communicated silently through subtle shifts in power and interface signals, guiding Jonas with calculations far faster than any alien could comprehend. Together, they moved with instinctive precision, weaving through danger without a scratch. The crowd gasped as the ship emerged unscathed. Energy readings remained optimal, engines stable, and systems fully operational. For a moment, silence fell over the observation decks. Then murmurs spread: excitement, disbelief, and admiration. One alien commander stepped forward, voice shaking. We have underestimated humans. That is beyond anything we imagined." Jonas smiled calmly, not with pride but with quiet satisfaction. "Underestimation is a mistake," he said simply. "We adapt, we create, and we never give up." But the demonstration was not over. Jonas had saved the best for last. He initiated a sequence to awaken the ship's hidden exploratory protocols, revealing star maps, logs, and coordinates to regions long abandoned by the galaxy. Holographic charts shimmered across the bridge, displaying paths, resources, and systems unknown to all living species. The observers leaned closer. They recognized the significance immediately. This was knowledge lost for centuries, an entire history of exploration that humans had restored and mastered. The galaxy had dismissed these paths as unreachable, impossible, or irrelevant. Jonas had not only reclaimed them but unlocked the potential for future discovery. "It seems the human has not just repaired the ship," a senior engineer said. "He has restored its legacy and improved it." Jonas allowed himself a quiet laugh. The ship hummed warmly in response, almost as if acknowledging the compliment. He had proven that human creativity could match and even surpass centuries of alien engineering. Finally, he set the ship on a short test flight beyond the starbase. Observers followed cautiously, unsure of what to expect. Jonas guided the vessel with precision, demonstrating speed, adaptability, and resilience. When a sudden debris field appeared, the ship dodged automatically, engines flaring and shields adjusting, protecting the vessel flawlessly. No alien fleet could match the combined capability of human ingenuity and the Starship's revived systems. The AI core pulsed brighter than ever, and Jonas realized the ship was fully awakened. Every system was synchronized with him, responding before he even thought to act. The once-forgotten vessel had become unstoppable. Returning to the starbase, Jonas deactivated the demonstration systems. Silence fell over the crowd once more. Then, slowly, applause began to ripple through the observation decks. Aliens who had mocked him weeks ago now stared in awe, some openly admitting they had been wrong. "You've shown us," one diplomat said, voice heavy with respect, "that humans are exceptional, that we underestimated your species." Jonas nodded, but he knew the real purpose was not recognition. "This ship is not for showing off," he said. "It is for exploring, learning, and discovering what others have forgotten. Humans will lead the way where no one else dares to go." The AI pulsed in agreement. It had been waiting for this moment, a true partnership forged through trust, ingenuity, and determination. Together, human and machine could go farther than any fleet, past any danger and into realms that aliens had deemed unreachable. Word of Jonas and the ship spread quickly. Aliens from neighboring sectors traveled to witness the humans' achievement. Engineers, scientists, and diplomats who had once dismissed him now approached with questions, curiosity, and even awe. Jonas welcomed them, but always with one goal in mind: the stars. The ship's logs contained paths to uncharted galaxies, planets filled with unknown resources, and civilizations yet to be discovered. The galaxy had thought humans were weak, slow, and unremarkable. Now, Jonas and his starship were proof that humans could achieve the impossible. The final demonstration came when Jonas decided to chart a new course into truly uncharted space. He activated the hidden engines, ones long considered obsolete, but with modifications Jonas had made, they now worked better than any contemporary design. The ship accelerated smoothly, lights streaking across the bridge, and the stars outside blurred into motion. Observers gasped. No ship of this size, no matter how modern, could match the speed and stability of Jonas's vessel. It maneuvered effortlessly through minor hazards, adjusted to gravitational anomalies, and adapted to cosmic radiation with systems that repaired themselves in real time. This is human ingenuity," an alien engineer whispered. "I've never seen anything like it." Jonas smiled quietly, hands resting lightly on the console. "Humans never stop, we never give up, and we never stop learning." As the ship glided into the unknown, the galaxy could only watch. A human mechanic had taken what all others had rejected and transformed it into something extraordinary. The once-forgotten starship was now unstoppable, and Jonas knew this was only the beginning. The ship carried them forward, through uncharted sectors, across galaxies untouched by civilization. Every system it passed, every star it approached, reminded Jonas of the truth humans had always known. Potential exists in places others overlook, and determination can awaken even the oldest, most forgotten marvels. Somewhere in the galaxy, aliens would remember this moment forever. The galaxy had dismissed humans once again, and humans had proven them wrong. Jonas sat back in the captain's chair, eyes bright as the stars stretched endlessly before him. The AI pulsed gently in response, a heartbeat of trust and collaboration. Together, they had turned what the galaxy rejected into a legend. "The stars are ours," Jonas whispered, "and we're just getting started." The once abandoned, forgotten starship had become a symbol of human potential, unstoppable, unforgettable, and proof that when humans set their minds to something, no force in the galaxy could stand in their way. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would not soon forget. Never underestimate a human.